Yeah. Unless they're gonna let everybody.
Be outside too, but.
What the hell with all the people coming in?
I don't know.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Everett said it's reports, but it hasn't been here till 12.
Yeah. They just shut them off quick.
Why do they do that? I mean, I just don't get that.
I mentioned that last time we were here.
Well,
Yeah.
heck, can't.
This is land
You
and
know,
water.
on the heels, I can.
Yeah.
And I usually play the back down the hills.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately,
I missed last month. They said it lasted 25 minutes.
Yeah, it was short.
It was nice.
yes, it
It was only 25 minutes.
Now we know why it takes long. That's right.
You know, I used to like it.
Chuck right the field.
Well, see, you were starting
What's
to
doing
pick on
Patrick
me.
tonight?
I told you I'm a
They
bad
will
picker.
stop for a different
I'm a
day.
bad picky. I told you that.
I'm finding that out. I'm going to turn around now.
I'm not sure if I can make it this.
You got an empty spot by Dennis?
That smoky looking one out there. Back here. Is that the Schmansky? Used to be a Schmansky. No, the white top with the black on it. Dark hair.
Could be.
I think you're right. Yep, I think you're right. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I think you're right.
What a guy.
Trace, I ain't seen her for a long time. For one thing, it's not gonna take long to get through the resolutions and the ordinance on there.
I think we got places to go things
These other-
through yet tonight.
All right, so. Mel said her computer just turned, so it is 7 o'clock and we'll call the meeting to order.
Meeting adjourned.
Mel will do roll call.
Mrs. Krantz?
Here.
What, 10 minutes?
Heisey?
Here.
Mr. Tim?
Here.
Mr. Cap?
Here.
Mr. Eckstein?
Here.
Mr. Letty?
Here.
Mrs. Plata?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Wadel?
Here.
Mr. Rothermel?
Here.
Kirschner?
Here.
All right, we'll stand for silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This guy's messed with my
Okay,
shirt.
could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Motion
Second.
by Weddy, second by Cap. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next we have the approval of the minutes of the July 19th, 2016 monthly meeting.
Motion to approve?
Motion
will
by
second
Wadel, second by Krenz. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, next is public comments, and we have no one that has signed in. We have no unfinished business, so we're gonna go right on to new business. And that is with reports and presentations, and the first one will be the UW Extension Annual Report by the department staff. Barb?
We'd like to thank you for this opportunity tonight to present our annual report to you. And we're going to share examples of how we support, empower, and engage our residents to transform their lives and to transform our communities. And I got the lucky straw to go first. So, Debbie, if you want to go to the next one. When we take a look at 4-H youth development, I'll just give you a recap of the status of 4-H in Washera County. We have approximately 340 members, and we've had that number the past probably 10 years. We have 14 4-H clubs that are situated throughout the county. Those 4-H clubs are led by a leadership team. Bernadette Krentz is one of the leadership team of the Loyal 4-H Club along with Becky Olson. And then they also have a team of youth officers who make decisions about the educational events, the community service opportunities, and other learning opportunities that they would experience in their 4-H club. So what I want to share with you tonight is what is the value of some of these 4-H experiences. And this past year, I had an opportunity to interview some livestock project members who, if you're at the fair this week, you will see many of them out there, and horse project members. So you might want to tour the horse barn too and connect with a few of our horse project members. This is a list of things that they talked about that they learn through 4-H. And the title is Life and Workforce Skills. Patrick has shared with me that there's some initiatives in our county to take a look at how can we help youth and young adults develop some of those workforce skills to make them successful in the workplace. And this is a list that they came up with without necessarily prompting them, but responsibility. They know if that animal's going to survive, they need to go out and feed that animal every day. They learn patience. Things might quite turn out the way they want, but over time, with patience, they continue to work on their projects. Confidence is a very important one, to be able to go out in front of the public and show that animal, or to even speak in front of a group, which leads to the next one, which is communication skills. Decision making. What projects am I going to take this year? What am I going to feed my animal? Problem solving. My steer won't follow my lead, so how do I get my steer to follow my lead? Work ethic. I want to ask some of those kids out there how many hours they spent on their project. And you'd be amazed at the dedication and number of hours that some of those members have put into those projects. Teamwork. This comes out both in the 4-H club where they're working together, but also in terms of in a project group. The picture down there on the right-hand side, this is a group of 4 girls who competed in a statewide event, a state horse event, and ended up going to the All-American Quarter Horse Congress to compete. And I don't know exactly where they placed, but it was the first time they went as a team, and they were very proud of their placements. And you can see the big, huge smiles on their faces. They need to be proud of the fact that they got to represent the state of Wisconsin at a national event. Leadership. Those girls all taught one another some of the horse information that they needed to be successful when they went to the Horse Congress event. Respect. Taking a look at how do we respect one another? How do we respect our animals? Dedication and hard work. It takes a lot of dedication to be successful, and they also learn that work is not always easy. You have to work hard to be successful in completing some of your 4-H goals. Learning a respect for others and for animals. And then part of this was part of our market animal quality assurance program, so they did talk about meeting quality standards in terms of how can I meet the quality standards for raising an animal within the livestock industry. So that's just some examples from the kids, our 4-H members, of the life skills and the workforce skills that they have developed through those particular projects. The next slide takes a look at a national research study. There was a longitudinal study done over a period of, I think it was 10 years, 12 years, one of those two, and what they took a look at, they compared 4-H members to other youth, maybe in other youth organizations, or maybe youth who weren't in other organizations, but you can see the impact that 4-H has had on our 4-H members. 1.8 times more likely than other youth to contribute to their communities. Bernadette, how many projects, service projects, does your club do in a year?
30.
30? So we figure that most clubs do at least one a month, or an average of one a month. And we have 14 clubs. At one point in time, we gathered all that data, and we had one community service project for every 4-H member in the county, which is huge that our 4-H program has given that much back to their community. 2 times more likely than other youth to have greater civic involvement. Our youth are officers of their 4-H clubs. They're providing leadership. Hopefully someday some of those 4-H members might consider being county board members. Higher engagement in school, 2.1 times more likely. They're active, involved in their 4-H club. We have a hard time sometimes getting on the calendars of our 4-H kids because they are so busy and involved in so many other things that it's hard for us to find their time to meet with them. Higher grades, 4.9 times more likely to graduate from college as other youth. Our kids are used to learning. They seek that information. They seek those opportunities to learn more. 2.8 times more likely than other youth to report healthy habits. So they're active, they're engaged, they're making positive contributions to their community, so they will continue to do that. So that's take a look at what's happening locally, and then take a look at what's happening nationally. The last slide for 4-H youth development just provides you you with some information about an outreach program that we do. It's very important to us that we also engage youth outside of the Community 4-H Club program in 4-H youth development opportunities. And you've heard a little bit about this, and I know some of you, I think Donna, you commented about some of from the library meetings and about how they have appreciated the efforts that we have done in terms of providing STEM education through the libraries. So it's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And last Thursday, I had 15 engineers at the Coloma Library building towers and building catapults. So it was fun to work with them so that they had that opportunity. This picture is from the Watoma Library. Megan Wecker, who is our 4-H Youth Development Program Advisor, if you take a look, the next to last point, she offers sessions on airplanes, rockets, catapults, and flashlights. The kids actually built their own flashlight, designed a catapult, shot off some rockets that they made, and they also tested different types of airplanes to see how the different design and other aspects of the airplane affected the flight. So this year we did a new format, and it did result in increased participation. In the past, we would offer one session at the library every month, so this time we went to each library for a series of 4 weeks, and that seemed to be more appreciated from the families and the engagement of the youth. 100% of the youth who participated said they learned something new about science, so we were glad to have that opportunity. And just as a note, this is my observation, it's not scientifically based, but I think the libraries are taking a look at more opportunities to engage more youth in educational opportunities like we've offered through the STEM programs. It's kind of nice to see that carry over into the addition of some other opportunities. So I know 3 people on county board will be spending a significant amount of time at the county fair, and I invite the rest of you to join us in helping to celebrate and recognize the accomplishments of our 4-H members at the fair this week. So if you see us, stop by and say hi. And next is Ben.
Good evening. Agriculture is pretty important in the county. One of the things I've been working on, I do breakfast grain meetings over on the east side of the county once a month, basically all through the fall and winter and into the spring. This last year we had 93 producers show up for those meetings. We cover cost of production, we cover marketing, try to bring in some speakers. It's just an hour and a half program in the morning. We also try and do a summer crop walk in the summer. A year ago, we went up to Pine Breeze Dairy, toured the Pine Breeze Dairy. While it's a dairy, it still works with complements grain marketing on that end of the county because they do purchase a lot of forage from area crop farmers. And this year, we did a crop walk towards the end of June at the Chuck Brewer farm. Chuck had some damage on his corn and soybeans around the 5th of June. Corn was only about 5 inches out of the ground, and it chewed it up pretty good. He's got pictures of where it washed down into the end of the field of hail about a foot deep. According to university recommendations or university bulletins, you should only get maybe about a 5% loss. The corn still recovers. However, in looking at the corn, we think there's going to be more than that. A lot of the corn was damaged. It's come back, but it's still smaller. It's stunted. It's not setting the ears that it should be setting. Okay, next slide. Then another thing I worked on in 2015, the 2014 Farm Bill had provisions in there for funding for education for farmers on the various aspects of the Farm Bill. The Department of Agriculture cannot provide information to farmers as far as what program might be better than another, so there was funding put in the Farm Bill for education. In Wisconsin, we had 10 agents who worked as specialized development agents for delivering this farm program. I was one of those 10. I held meetings at 8 different locations across 7 counties here in the center part of the state. We had 306 producers. I got 183 evaluations back. And on those evaluations, on a rating of 1 to 5, we tried to rate people as far as what their knowledge was prior to the meetings and what their knowledge was afterwards. How the plans worked went from 1.75 up to 3.72. How they can update their yields went from 2.05 up to 3.84. How to update their acres went from 2.17 up to 3.19 or 3.91. And where they could get the resource material went from 1.82 to 3.91. And then overall, I asked them how they would rate the meeting. 55 of them rated that they would classify them as excellent, and 107 rated them as good. Yep.
How to
were provisions in the Farm Bill where your payments were made on base acres. And base acres, there are different ways you could qualify to get those acreage on your farm. If you never had a base on your farm before, you couldn't get any base. And so there were some technicalities as far as how they would be able to classify their farm. And then vegetables are also important in the county. One of the things when I started, I resurrected a processing vegetable meeting that had been held over on the east side of the county once each spring. We started it at the Hancock Research Station, and then our attendance got larger. So the meeting room would only really comfortably handle about 45. We moved it up to the Elizabeth Inn at Plover. And then over the last 2 or 3 years, our attendance has started to fall. We moved it back 2 years ago to Hancock. This past year, we had 52 people registered for the meeting, 48 attended. Whether it's the meeting room, whether it's a handier location for people to get to, we're going to hold it there again this next spring. It's one day, concise. We simply concentrate on processing vegetables for the area farmers. I also serve as a resource agent for information on crop production, on the use of water, soil types, production cost. A couple of years ago, our office had a call from Representative Scott Krug's office. He wanted information as far as relating to water use, crop production, that sort of thing on the Central Sands. I put some material together, went down to the state capitol and visited with him and provided him that information. A couple weeks ago, I also had a call from a person from the Milwaukee Sentinel in Milwaukee, kind of asking the same questions. What can a farmer grow without water? How important is water in the Central Sands? One of the questions he asked me is, if we couldn't irrigate on the Central Sands, what would farmers be able to grow? What would it be? And I suggested to him that I could remember coming back up when I was small, coming up Highway 51, and all it was grazing ground. And I told him, I said, it probably would just look like South Dakota in the summertime. They'd pasture it, you'd get what you could off of it, and that would be it. I also work in the area farm business, farm expansions. I've worked with some farmers looking at expanding into milking dairy goats, also some farmers into expanding cow dairy operations. I've also gone and worked with some farmers who are facing some budgetary issues. One of the problems in working in that era is that a lot of times by the time I get a call, there's really not a whole lot they can do. Many times the option at that point is to look at possibly carving the farm up, selling some of the property to be able to cover some of the debts, or maybe selling all of it. And that was the advice I had to give the one farmer this past spring. Okay. I also work in the area of horticulture. We have a good master gardener group in the county. In 2015, we had 58 members. I try to do training programs every 2 years. We're set to do another program this next spring. We usually get 15 to 20 people in a class, and that's just a good size for people to be able to visit, meet each other. They aren't afraid to ask questions. When you get into a situation where you get up to 50 people, when I was in Langley County, I did training in Marathon County, and we had rooms of about 50 people, and people are afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to stand up and be noticed in front of that many people. So we try to do that. I have the master gardeners come in and try to do a 15-minute presentation on something that they do at the beginning of class that brings a personal touch from what the present group, what they do, and it gives them a chance to meet the new people. Volunteer hours in 2005 amounted to about 924 for the volunteer work that they did. In 2015, that had gone up to 3,034. They presently work on about 20 gardens across the county. They also do volunteer work in areas like square foot gardening. Some of the people do work in that. I also get questions on, such as a picture down there at the bottom, cedar apple rust on apple trees. We get people that bring in questions, want to know what this disease is and what they can do for it. And one of the things I can do, I can take pictures of that. I can clip it to an email, send it across the state to every ag agent, every ag specialist across the state to get input and find out what the answers are. So with that, any questions? Okay, next.
Thank you.
And then over the past 3 years, I've been working, well, actually a little longer than that, since 2008. The Waushara County Lakes Council, which is lake districts, lake associations in the county, we're looking at a way of saving money on doing lake management plans.
working with UW Stevens Point, Land Conservation Department, UW Extension, and then through a DNR grant, we were able to do lake management plans for 31 lakes in the county. This past year, that planning process was wrapping up as far as the meetings with the communities. And we started moving into the next phase of the process, which is working on bringing those plans to the county and to the towns and the villages and having them incorporate that into their comprehensive plans. So the lake management plans were completed, and now over the course of part of last year, some of this year, and probably into next year, we'll be working with the different towns to have them reference those lake management plans in their comprehensive plans. By doing that, the lake districts get more points when they apply for grants. Lake associations get more points when they apply for grants from the DNR for managing their lake. It's part of an overall approach, so it's not just a piecemeal activity. And then those plans can be useful for other things and updating the town on what the interests of the lakes are in the county and the interests of the lakes. The other thing with the comprehensive plans is we updated the Westchara County Comprehensive Plan to include the references to the lakes, but also some changes that had taken place in the county. Worked with the town of Mount Morris, town of Springwater, and town of Coloma on some updates that they had to their comprehensive plans. And so those lake management plans and the comprehensive plans are being completed and updated in the county. We'll move to the next one. And one of the other things is we've been working with the Westchara County Prevention Council's Food Connections Committee. It's a subcommittee of the Vision 2020, which is looking at poverty issues in the county. One of the issues related to poverty is access to food. A project that was completed in this last year was a community garden in Red Granite. Another one related to that, or another project of that subcommittee, was providing market information to the grocery stores in our county, because the grocery stores we find is a big source of where people get food in the county. And if we were to lose one of them, it'll be a greater distance, and the terminology is more of a food desert for those people that rely on that grocery store. The village of Coloma lost their grocery store recently, so I've been working with the village of Coloma on providing that market information for the grocery store and helping them out with that as they approach different options for having somebody reopen that grocery store, or having the community through a cooperation business open a grocery store. Also, Coloma is now a Connect community, which is a program through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. It's intended to help downtowns of smaller communities develop plans and strategies on how they're going to improve their community's retail section. And part of that is that the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation works with myself as part of UW Extension on that marketing strategies and the strategic planning and the economic and demographic information as they make those decisions. Also helped with some economic development strategies for the Washera County Tourism Resource Commission, which manages the room tax for a number of municipalities in the county, Washera County being a tourism destination. One of the things that they were looking at is some planning of their own, helped them work through that process, and then they surveyed the lodging industry here in the county as part of that project. The Tri-County Regional Economic Development Corporation has been around now for 10 years, and they decided it was a good time to update their strategic plan. And so I've been working with the Tri-County Regional Economic Development Corporation to update their strategic plan. And one of those things, as Barb mentioned earlier, was taking another look at the workforce in the county and in the Green Lake and Marquette counties. Somewhat related to that is that Fox Valley Technical College and the Watoma School District is looking at or talking with one another on the possibilities of expanding what Fox Valley Tech has to offer in Wautoma area and Washera County in general. And so I provided some of that information, background information, demographics and economics of the county, so that they could make some informed decisions on maybe expanding their programs here in the county. And so right now they're in the exploration process. They've decided that sounds like a good idea, and so they're looking at how feasible that is. So they're in the next stage of that process. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mary Ann.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann from the Family Living Program, and I'm going to talk about some of the different programs that I've done in this past year. I initiated a jail program where the detainees in the jail received education on financial literacy, so when they leave the jail, they're able to manage their money better and make better decisions around their money. We also had conflict management skill classes where they actually were able to apply the skills that they learned while they were at the jail. And they actually would report back to me the next week or at the next class how they applied those conflict management skills. Another program that I'm really excited about that I just started 5 weeks ago actually is called Girl Power, and that is a program that helps girls to make better decisions around the choices of should I smoke, should I drink, and also to decrease sexual activity and reduce the risk of early pregnancy. So this is a self-esteem program that is evidence-based out of California. And we just had the last program this morning and had excellent report back from the teachers that the girls actually were having better behavior over the 5 weeks. And the teachers are really supportive and excited about that. So I'm going to take that program into the school district this next year for the after-school program. The other program that I started in partnership with the Department of Aging. Actually, the Department of Aging received a grant for the Aging Mastery Program, which is part of the National Council on Aging. And in this grant, we are going to reach 100 participants. The picture on the bottom right there, we had our first graduating class with 20 people receiving certificates and 30 people had signed up for the class. So it's really looking at, as we age, for adults 55 and older, how can we be healthier, how can we be more engaged in our communities, and how can we have better health around finances, better choices in medication management, and keep our financial records safe, just all those different decisions that we have as aging adults. So that got a great review from the participants. They really enjoyed it and learned some skills that they can take with them to be healthier longer. Okay, next slide, please. I also want to talk about some of our programs that we have around our home and community education group, and also we've had a couple interns this past year. So one of the things I don't think people know about our HCE, or home and community education, is that we have something called Wisconsin Bookworms, and it is an early literacy program. 56 Head Start children were read to every month for 8 months by HCE members. And that has been going on for, I believe, 15 years here in Washera County. Each Head Start family receives 8 books per year. And so that would be over 400 books that are given out each year. We have 84 HCE members as of this year, and only 14 of them reported their volunteer hours, but out of those 14, they actually had 721 volunteer hours. So some of the things that they volunteer at, the food pantry, they volunteer with the backpack program, they volunteer in nursing homes. So they're volunteering throughout the community, and oftentimes we don't see them. And they also give donations to such things as the food pantry, the Wisconsin Bookworms, or maybe it is for the backpack program too. So they're kind of silent but powerful in the community because they do donate a lot of time and some money also. This past year we had a family living dietetic intern. She was a graduate from UW Green Bay, Emily Engelke, and Emily was under the supervision of Barb and I, and so she taught nutrition, food safety, and healthy living classes, both through the STEAM program that Barb talked about and also family living programs. So she went to many different locations, including WIC and the meal sites, the libraries, and Waushara Industries. There you see her teaching a food label lingo class where people are able to make better choices through reading food labels. Okay, next slide, please. And then I also wanted to update you on my work with Cancer Clear and Simple. Last year, I was written into 2 grants, and one was from the American Cancer Society and the other from the USDA NIFA, National Institute for Farm and Agriculture. And that buyout is 30% of my time, which is about $16,988. So that helped to cover a student intern, and also Zena Soltis, our nutrition educator, worked part-time as a family living educator. So some of the things that's going on with Cancer Clear and Simple, because those grants do go through 2017, is I did have 19 participants at 3 sessions, 208 contacts at community health fairs. And just a reminder, participants learn about cancer basics and cancer prevention, which can also help to reduce other chronic diseases, and then also early diagnosis and screening. And cancer deaths and heart disease deaths are the highest rates of death in Waushara County. So what's going on this year now, I'm going to be there will be a statewide training. Right at this time, I'm actually the only family living educator in Wisconsin that's teaching Cancer Clear and Simple. So we're going to be having a statewide training in September, and there will be 20 family living educators and public health educators that will be trained throughout the state. So here in Waushara County, one of the health educators and Family Health Clinica health educator will be attending to be able to deliver that program. So that's exciting, and that's an update on that as far as my grant responsibilities. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
So my primary role with UW Extension is as a nutrition educator through the Wisconsin Nutrition Education Program. And this is within family living programs, but it is a separate program. And it receives its funding exclusively through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which was formerly called the Food Stamp Program. So the audience that I mainly work with are limited income audiences. And some of the adult education that I do is at the Wautoma Food Pantry, also at Family Health Clinica with their WIC office. And but a lot of the work that I do is with youth in schools. And I'm able to go into any school that has at least a 50% free reduced lunch rate, which is all of our elementary schools. So I'm in all the districts in all the elementary schools here, mainly 1st through 4th grade. So, and I also do some after school programming and then summer school as well. And I have there that I provided direct education to nearly 600 unduplicated learners in the county this year, but as of Friday, it's over 600. So no longer nearly, but just over 600 so far, and our fiscal year is not over yet, so that number will continue to grow. And with the schools, I'm in about 25 different classrooms, so, and I'm there 5 times for each classroom as well. So that keeps me busy, very busy during the school year. And this school year I will be doing Red Granite after school program as well, and I'll be working with CAP Services Head Start. Next slide. As Marianne mentioned, as a result of her grant work, A small portion of my time has been dedicated to the family living program, and we've been fortunate enough to have an intern with us this summer. So I provided some programming, and I also coordinated some programs that she did as well. And these were related to food, nutrition, and wellness. And these were all the sites where either she or I were doing a variety of programming. Any questions?
That, did they notice after they had the classes with the fourth graders, or what was it,
First through fourth.
before?
Mhm.
Did they notice them making better choices at the school lunch programs and through?
Absolutely. So I did. I've been working with using some Google Forms with the teachers, and they respond fairly well to that. And I ask, what kinds of things that they're noticing, and they do report that they are noticing behavior change with the children and in the things that they're talking about and the choices that they are making. So it is making an impact. Yes. Yes.
I didn't see Coloma Elementary on there. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, that is actually within the Westfield School District. So my coordinator in Marquette County actually goes to the Coloma Elementary School.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to wrap up with a quick update. Patrick provided some information this spring to you in regards to the status of cooperative extension. As you know, there was a budget cut made to the university budget, and cooperative extension has realized $3.6 million of that budget, so it's a huge cut towards us. As a result, they're going under a strategic reorganizational process, and currently there's 18 different work groups that are taking a look at different aspects of our organization. Membership includes staff, county board members, partners, as well as administration. We tried to get Everett to serve on one of these committees, but they chose the nominator instead of the nominee, so I ended up being on one of the committees. So I don't know how that works. I said they looked in the wrong column. So as we're taking a look, we're undergoing a strategic needs process. Like most organizations, when you do this, I'm going to take a look at some gap analysis, and then we're going to provide some recommendations. So one given is we'll be working in a multi-county area, and the counties that are included right now in our area are Green Lake, Marquette, Adams, Juneau, and Waushara. And then a second given is we want to assure you that throughout the end of 2017, which is when they indicate that staff transitions will occur at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, we will continue to work very hard to provide the same level, if not increased level of programming to the residents of Waushara County. So we just want to assure you that. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Would you like to talk about the fair at all?
Could also talk about the fair as well as Bob. Bob is a fair board member and works hard in terms of the overall organization of the fair. I want to talk about Everett. Everett this past year has served on our Fairgrounds Improvement Committee, and as you walk through the fairgrounds, it may not be one of the things that'll be real obvious to everyone is there are brand new tables in the vegetable and crops area, and that was all due to Everett's initiative in order to get those tables there. So, and if you're at the fair, stop at the 4-H food stand, stop at the Farm Bureau food stand, enjoy some good fair food. So again, thank you for coming out and supporting our 4-H kids. Congratulate them on their accomplishments. I think it's important that they hear that from a variety of people, that they have worked very hard and they deserve the recognition that they're getting. So any fair questions that I can't answer?
Can add a little bit to that. I caught the fair board in a moment of weakness, and after 50-some years of marriage, I'm used to begging, so I guess I did a good job. And I can say that because my wife isn't here tonight.
Well, you'll also notice on by those tables, there's a long list of contributions of businesses. Barry Mastrocola, who was on county board at the time that that initiative made some contributions. Everett and his wife made some contributions. A number of 4-H clubs made contributions. We have a long list of improvements that we can make to the fair that would benefit the exhibitors and the exhibits. So we're always looking for financial resources to help do that. So if you know of people who are looking for good places to support, let us know. And the committee that Everett and Ken and I work with will continue to move that forward in terms of improving the fairgrounds. Thank you very much.
keep everyone entertained here. We have our management team here, so I'm going to ask them all to stand up, please, and introduce themselves. We don't always get to see our senior managers, so let me say hello to them tonight.
Hello, I'm Tanya Amos. I'm the CCS supervisor. Renisa Rocco, deputy director. Sue Schmansky, alcohol and drug coordinator. Michelle Nice, business manager. Paige Fries, economic support and marketing support service. Kevin Cameron, Rugby contact supervisor. Lindsay Campbell, that I supervise juvenile justice, clerk of street, and children's care. Caroline Nasdaq, supervise child protective services and foster care coordinator.
I have a, what's CCS? I'm sorry.
We'll get to that.
Comprehensive Community Services is the wraparound program.
Thank you.
That'll be highlighted in our report.
There won't be a test, will there?
Maybe.
Open book, though.
While Ruth's passing those around, that's a good. We use a lot of acronyms in our world, but the Comprehensive Community Services Program is one that you've heard a lot about. That's the one that is now 100% funded by. The feds always reimburse 60%, but then counties had to do the other 40%, and now the states have picked up that 40%. So that's a program that we've been trying to highlight and use as much as appropriate, as much as we can, to really serve our consumers. So that is going to be in the report. I can highlight which number is referred to for that specific program. But so what we thought we'd do tonight is, first of all, just give you, because we obviously provide many, many services, just kind of highlight the main things that we're doing in our report for 2015. So right off the bat, Kate and her group assisted approximately 2,770 Waushara County residents. That's what we will do in 16, what we're predicting. And that's helping them obtain and maintain their benefits such as MA, food share, Badger Care, child care assistance, all those types of programs. You can see from the report that that is up consistently through the years. We provided in 2015 531 Waushara County residents with mental health, alcohol, or other drug abuse counseling. We responded to, excuse me, 623 calls regarding Waushara County residents experiencing personal crises. All of those required some sort of emergency response on our part. We kept Waushara County children safe by responding to 539 reports of child maltreatment in 2015. And that number's gone up almost every single year since I've been here. So for a small county to top over 500 is quite a bit. Of course, those include allegations of physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, unborn child abuse, all those things. In 2015, we placed 45 minors in safe environments, such as foster care. We really try to place with relatives when appropriate and safe to do so. And we do have contracted services. We're not able to meet all the needs of our kids in Waushara County for placements, despite our best efforts. So if you know of anyone who wants to be a foster parent or is interested, we are always looking. Because we want to keep those kids in their community. It's better for them. It's better for us. We are more likely to be able to work and get them home quicker or find them permanency quicker if we can keep them in county. In talking to the Department of Human Services Board and Committee while preparing this report, one of the things they really wanted me to highlight to all of you is some of those placement costs. That's something you'll hear me talk about a lot. What are those, when we do have to place either children or adults, what are some of those costs, just to give you an idea? Because they have dramatically increased in the last few years. Hopefully we can reverse that sometime soon. You've heard us talk a lot about our juvenile girl who's in the residential care. I've told you this before, that she costs the county about $280,000 a year. That is soon to top over $500,000 a year. However, the good news is that we're really hoping one of our programs, the Children's Long-Term Support Program, we're waiting to hear back from the state to see what of that they can cover, but we're really hoping that the county's contribution is going to decrease dramatically on that. We're hoping to about $100,000 a year as opposed to $280,000 or $500,000 a year. We have currently have a severely disabled girl who's just one who costs over $20,000 a year for her placement. Again, we're working hard for permanency for her, but that's just one kiddo there. Juvenile delinquency placements, I'm talking to Michelle and some of our financial people. What we're looking at this year is about $75,000 in that area for delinquency placements. And then just in an overall, child protection services placements are up quite a bit. This year, we've had a couple big sibling groups, a couple of 4, one we've been able to reunify with their family. We're still working with them, of course. And then another sibling group of 4 and a sibling group of 6. So as you can tell, that really adds up. And we're anticipating that we're going to be $100,000 to $200,000 over budget in those placements in 2016 because of some of those bigger placements. In 2015, we completed 128 OWI assessments, so operating while intoxicated assessments. We assessed 160 adult protection services referrals in 2015. So this is elder abuse, abuse to vulnerable adults, financial exploitation, neglect, self-neglect, sexual abuse, and includes all of those for any vulnerable adult. In addition, we provide ongoing case management, court assessments, reviews, other supportive services to approximately 115 vulnerable adults. Some of those adults do also need to be placed outside of what would be their normal living environment. Now, with the introduction of family care, the thought is that, okay, with Sheriff County and every county places, we have a certain maintenance of effort. So we have to put so much money and give the state so much money for aging and disabled people that can't remain in their homes. However, not everyone's eligible for that. If it's primarily a mental health placement or alcohol or drug-related placement, or they're otherwise ineligible, that does come out of the county coffers. And just an example, 2 of those folks cost us about $100,000 in 2016. In 2015, we served approximately 52 children with disabilities and their families, case management, wraparound teams, occupation physical therapy, speech and language services, respite care, adaptive equipment, all those kind of things. Those are our Birth to 3 programs, our children's long-term support program that I was just talking about, coordinated service teams, that Tanya oversees that program as well. And so we've served 52 additional kids and their families in those programs. In 2015, we worked with the district attorney's office to keep Sheriff County safe while meeting the needs of juveniles and their families by processing 66 referrals regarding juveniles that have committed crimes. In addition, we provided post-reunification services. Those are services to families that have been reunited after having children removed from their homes. Also to 4 families, in-home safety services to 4 families, and community response program. That is a special program. So say we get a referral for child abuse and neglect and doesn't meet that statutory definition, this is an outreach program. So hopefully we can prevent them coming into the system. So that was 56 families. And the good thing for you guys to know about these programs, that 64 families know what it costs to Sheriff County. It's work for us. We have to prepare reports. We have to go to meetings. We have to, do their paperwork, but no additional cost for the in-home services that we provide, that are provided through those programs. So that's good news. In 2015, we provided 36 adults and children with mental health diagnosis and alcohol or drug abuse issues with case management, medication management, mentoring, other programs to assist in their pursuit of recovery-oriented goals. This is CCS. So this is the one you were asking about, comprehensive community services. In 2015, we served 36. And again, that's a good number. We want to keep getting that up, hopefully, because it is a good bang for our buck. We also serve presently about 37 adults with severe, persistent, and disabling mental health issues by providing them with such services as symptom medication management, independent living skills, training, opportunities for positive social interactions. You've heard about this program before, too. This is the Community Support Program, or CSP. And this is the one where the feds are still paying 60% of our eligible costs in that program, and then we have to pick up the other 40. But those are folks that, for whatever reason, are not eligible for the CCS. We recruit, license, and maintain foster home. Currently, we have about 12. Of course, we're always collaborating with the state, private funders, other agencies, really trying to get the best possible services we can here at minimum expense to our taxpayers. We collaborate. Because of our collaborations, we're able to provide some free or low-cost services such as parenting classes, the in-home parenting and safety programs we've talked about, case management, information referral services to the elderly, disabled, and vulnerable through our work in collaboration with the Department of Aging and the Aging and Disability Resource Center. We co-chair the Waushara County Prevention Council, active partner in sponsoring community events. You've seen some of these. The Back to School Bash will be coming up soon. Blue Ribbon Kids Day is in April. We have the Backpack Nutrition Program that serves, we serve about over 100 kids every year with food items for over the weekend when they're not in school. We took over recently, as you know, the administration of the Treatment Alternatives and Diversion and Safe Streets Program, so the TAD, the drug court that you've heard about. I will just give a shout out to Jan Novak, our prevention coordinator, who spent a lot of hours getting that. It's a competitive grant this year. It's a 5-year grant. It was a lot of work, but we got that out successfully, and keep your fingers crossed. And then finally, we just work with other county and regional partners just to promote the overall health and economic growth of Waushara County to the best of our ability. I do have a couple special speakers that we brought along, a couple folks to talk about how Waushara County as Human Services has impacted them and been beneficial to them, and how their life is different. Before I get into that, are there any questions or comments regarding this report before I introduce them? Yes,
Do
please.
you do anything with mental abuse to children?
Yes, a good question. One of the things that probably isn't added, which should be added under that fourth bullet, is emotional damage to children. So it's a hard statutorial definition to get to, but we really try to, of course, work with families to prevent it from even having to go to court on emotional damage. But we do assess those cases, get involved. A lot of our wraparound programs, such as CCS or working with our clinical folks, Dr. Morgan Jones and her folks, really trying to get at what are some of those root causes and how can we assess and help the whole family. I will say, just as an aside, this is a lot of work for 60-some people. so a lot of times I'm questioned sometimes about why do you have 60-some staff? And this is the reason why. It's a lot of work. You can see we serve a lot of people, a lot of different programs, a lot of different requirements, but it's all for, hopefully, if we can get them, then you're not going to see them. Jeff's not going to hopefully see them, or we're not going to see them in the prisons or, the high costs. We want to try to get involved as soon as we can so that you're not seeing problems down the road. The earlier, the better. Any other questions or comments about this before I introduce our guests? Okay, thank you. So we're going to start with Harlan. Harlan, if you could step up and talk about human service a little bit for you.
Hi, I'm Harlan. I used to, I was fighting for my daughter from PACA, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And I transferred over here to social service here, and they helped me out. I don't know what they asked me to do. I was fighting for 7 years, and I finally got her full time and full custody of her. And these people really helped me out a lot, and they're still helping me, and I appreciate it. They helped me and stuff. If they didn't help me, I wouldn't gotten nowhere and stuff. And Dutcher, I'm proud. He made my day when he gave full custody of my daughter, where he wouldn't get harmed or anything. And these people here, they helped me out a lot, and I appreciate you guys helping me out and stuff. And I still like to have them help me out a little more. I know, because I'm a new father with my daughter, and my daughter is a real sweet girl, and she's a A student daughter. She's smart and Dean read real good, and we don't have any problems. It's just we live day by day and just go forward and don't look back. And these people help me out a lot. And that's all I can say is social service here is better than PACA. Because I wasn't getting nowhere there. But when I moved it here, I got somewhere. And I got my daughter where I want her, where I keep my eye on her, keep her safe. And I love my daughter the whole moon or space. I can't go any farther than that. And all the kids need is love and care, and just do what they need and stuff. And I keep on doing it, and I don't give up. I kept on going. I got her. She's mine. And we got a house. I got a trailer. I'm buying a trailer for me and her. And life ain't gonna get any better than what it is now. And I thank you, the social service here, to help me out a lot, and Dutcher too. I can't forget him. He was a well guy. I don't care what anybody says about him. He's fine.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're
with us.
Everybody, my name is John. I'm here because Hugh Szymanski invited me. Thank you for allowing me time to speak. I'd like to let you know how I came to know about the services offered to me from Waushara County Human Services. For starters, I became involved with Waushara County Human Services in April of 2015. There was a CHIPS order placed to come to my home and get involved with my family. In the beginning, I was very devastated and very upset with the situation. All I could think was, why me? Why us? Why my family? I mean, I didn't think I had a problem then. So then I thought. Anyway, I came to know Clara from Human Services because of my avid drug use and abuse. When I met Clara, she informed me that she wasn't there to take my children away or to break up my family. She was actually there to help. I was very skeptical at first, then things started to play out, and I didn't feel so violated after getting to know her purpose and the agenda she had for us. She introduced us to Lutheran Social Services. They would come to our house and evaluate me and our family for about 90 days. We came up with a family plan. We also were meeting with Clara a few times per month. It was a very supportive and not as invasive or disrupting to my family as I thought it would be. Clara referred me to an AODA counselor named Jim Webb. I attended his classes weekly until he transferred to another county. I then got a chance to meet with another woman named Sue Szymanski. Attended AODA classes with her for approximately 6 weeks. From that point, I went into aftercare, and I've been seeing her ever since. I think these programs that I have been involved in are great programs for myself, for my family, and for the people out there that actually need help and are willing to accept it. I have to admit at times it has been a little bit overwhelming, but I have persevered. Thanks to the services provided, I have learned a lot about myself, good things as well as the bad. It has taught me how to be a better version of myself. I've gained a great deal of trust and love for my family. We now do many things together on a regular basis, from bowling, fishing, movies, even going on vacations to the Dales. Things of that nature, quality family things, activities that create good, fond memories, memories that last a lifetime. So in closing, I'd like to say thank you to those that I have the pleasure of meeting and working with. For without your efforts in helping me out during my time of struggle, I don't know where myself or my family would be. And with these tools and knowledge that I have gained in these services, I now have been clean and sober for 490 days. I know now that I can continue to live, grow, and maintain a happy, healthy lifestyle for myself and for my family. I appreciate your time, and again, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Harlan and John. We really appreciate that, them coming out and kind of highlighting face-to-face for you guys of what we do. And as as you could tell, both of them were involved in numerous of our programs at different stages, during their separate recoveries. But that's not an easy thing to do, to come talk to all of you, and so we really appreciate your time and effort. Any last questions or comments from any of you regarding anything regarding human services? No? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the report. Next, Land and Water Resource Management Plan update.
Hi, everybody. I'm Josh from Land Conservation and Zoning Department. Thank you for letting me present here tonight. A little background. This is a presentation for the Land and Water Conservation Board for our 5-year extension for our Land and Water Plan. I'm presenting it to them in October, first week in October down in Madison. Washera County location and makeup. Everyone knows where Washera County is. 18 townships, 6 villages, 2 cities, population 24,000, just over 24,000, land area almost 410,000 acres. This is a pie chart of the land base, 46% cropland, 30% forested, 16% surface waters and wetlands, and 8% developed. There are 11 watersheds, sub-watersheds in Washera County, and this is just a map of the makeup of the watersheds. So this is a little history of the Washera County Land and Water Management Plan. 99, the initial plan was written, and it was written for 3 years. 99 to 2001, and then a 3-year extension from 01 to 03, and then another 3-year extension to 2003 to 2006. 2006, we went under a full plan revision, and then after that, another 3-year extension, and then 2011 was our latest full plan revision, and we planned that out on a 10-year planning horizon from 2011 to 2020. And then this is for a 5-year extension from until 2020. And throughout this, we developed an annual work plan instead of a work plan over the course of the 10 years. This is just kind of some information on how the plan was developed. It was approved by the board on April 12, 2011. And it's just, it goes through who was all involved, the citizens, different units of government, state, local, federal agencies, and it's put together to manage the natural resource programs, establish an effective information and education strategy, and to secure different funding sources for the programs. Here's our mission statement. Promote conservation of our natural resources to a diverse group of landowners and future landowners in Washera County through educational opportunities, technical assistance, professional collaborations that result in long-term stability of natural resources. And these are our main goals in our new annual work plan, to continue agricultural performance standards implementation, to maintain eligibility for all farmland preservation participants, reduce agriculture and pollutant loading to surface water and groundwater, reduce erosion and pollutant loading on non-agricultural sites to surface water and groundwater, and continue to develop and enhance our soil and water information and education strategy. Here's some outreach and education, conservation field days, lake management planning, Watershed Lakes Council meetings, and Farm Bureau meetings. Washera County Watershed Lakes Council was formed in 1997, and they have quarterly meetings, and it's a great way to disseminate lakes information. Most all of the lakes groups have representatives that attend the Watershed Lakes Council meetings. And the Waushara County Farm Bureau has monthly meetings that I attend and distribute land conservation updates, different programs that are available, different grants that come up, and ideas are shared. This is Conservation Field Days. I know, I think some of you guys have been out there. I know Everett and Bernadette and some others might have been out there. It's a educational opportunity we put on for 5th grade students every year from all the schools around the county for 2 different days. And they just go through outdoor field stations, hands-on environmental stuff, groundwater, forestry, wildlife, soils, fisheries, aquatic invasive species, and aquatic indicator species. Lake management planning, this is similar to this is what Patrick was talking about in his lake management plan development, but this starts from the beginning on phase 1, where a shoreline assessment was taken on all the lakes in Waushara County. Pictures of the shoreline were taken, and the shoreline health was assessed using a color-coded and numbering system. This helped to identify areas of shoreline that needed improvement. And then phase 2 was data collection and evaluation. All the lakes were sampled for 2 years, 3 times a year, for total phosphorus, chlorophyll, nitrogen, conductivity, water clarity, all the necessary stuff that needed to be included in the lakes management plan. And then phase 3, the lakes groups, local residents had a series of 4 meetings to develop goals, objectives, and action items to help preserve and protect the lake. They pretty much, the members of the community and people that use that lake got together and put together the lake management plan. And plans were developed on, that's 31 lakes, not 42. And over 500 lake property owners and area residents were involved in the planning process. And then phase 4, that's the implementation phase. That's taking everything from phase 1 through 3 and taking those goals and objectives out of lake management plan and actually implementing them. Shoreline habitat restoration, fish sticks, native plantings, diversions to keep the runoff out of the water. And these practices are in their plan, and they will enhance the water quality now and for future generations. I believe that is on Big Green Lake. Here's a list of our project summary for the last 5 years. The different practices we installed. Most of them are agricultural practices, but there are the riparian buffers and stream bank and shoreline protections up there. And there is a copy of this in the last page of your packet. Okay, soil and water protection, erosion control plans through Uniform Dwelling Code, wetland scrapes, enhancements and restorations, lakeshore protection, waterways, feed storage runoff control, manure storage, cattle watering systems, stream crossings, and nutrient management. Construction site erosion control. 489 erosion control plans were reviewed since 2011. And these take place each time someone comes in for a building permit for a new building or an addition. Their site is assessed depending on what erosion control practices are necessary for their site. Wetland scrapes and restorations, 9.5 acres of wetland restorations. All throughout the county, they're limited to, with our funding, our cost sharing, they're limited to, they can be no bigger than an acre. So many times they're a half acre or 3/4 of an acre. protecting Washera County lakes. 32 lakes in Washera County with public access. And we had over 600 feet of riparian buffer installed. Morris Lake, a lot of you have seen that down at the boat landing where they had an erosion problem in the top left corner. And we helped cost share the native planting with the fencing to keep people from coming down there. And look what it did. The right side is Wilson Lake, where you had a property right along the lake there that was in pretty rough shape, a lot of open soil erosion, and we help facilitate the riparian buffer and the native planting. Here's a waterway that was installed in eastern Washera County. In Poisippi, that drains to just through the tree line in the back, about a couple hundred feet, is the Pine River, and there was channelized erosion through the wooded area there, where it was contributing a lot of sediment and nutrients to the Pine River, and we helped cost share and design this waterway project. It was a pretty big, successful project. Feed storage runoff collection system. This is on the bottom left picture. Off to the left of the pickup there is the feed bunkers for a dairy that the runoff was coming straight down kind of where the concrete trench was, and it was contributing nutrients to a tributary that led to a creek. So there was nutrient loading into the creeks, and so we came in and helped cost share and design a system that would transfer a lot of that concentrated leachate runoff and pump it back to the manure pit. Manure storage structure, earthened pit that we helped oversee construction on to make sure it was installed to the standard. And cattle watering system. This was on the Willow Creek. Top two pictures are before pictures, where there was just a fenced off area out in the creek for the cattle to water and do whatever they wanted in there. About that last fence post out, I think it's about 6 feet deep there. So they had a lot of creek to go into, and so we came through and helped cost share a cattle watering system. Down the bottom right corner is something called the jug, that a water line comes up from the bottom, and the cattle actually suck the water out of there so it can be used in the wintertime also. It's a year-round watering system that doesn't freeze up. And then we had the lane down to the water fenced off, so the cattle could no longer use it. And here's a stream crossing repair, where the stream channel became very wide and braided and warmed up the water. There was no actually defined channel in here, so we partnered with the DNR to take on this project and redo the stream crossing. And while the DNR helped rechannelize the stream. The top pictures are before and the bottom pictures are after. Turned out very nice. And little nutrient management information. 2011, there was about 3,000 acres under nutrient management that we were tracking. And in 2015, that number is almost up at 35, just under 35,000 acres. And part of this was due to nutrient management farmer education grants. In 2002, we had a grant offered, or we received a grant for nutrient management training for farmers. And 13 farmers attended training. And then in 2014, again, we got the grant. And this time we offered nutrient management training along with soil sampling and nutrient management plan development. It was a little more intense training where they actually learned how to soil sample and learned how to write the plan themselves. 13 farmers attended the training and over 1,300 acres of soil sampled and nutrient management plans written. And then in 2016, I applied for another grant for the 2017 year. And that is the end. Any questions?
Is it hard to get the cows to go to that thing to, you know, I mean, they used to go into the stream or whatever. Is it hard to get them to go to that?
The jug?
Jug, yes.
No, actually, that got moved. It's kind of right up by the barn, so it's actually right in their area there. So
Not everybody might know what those fish sticks are, but actually it's just trees that they drop down into the lakes. That's something that the DNR is pushing now. So.
Yep.
Of course we know it.
You buy them in a box, throw them in the oven.
Forgot you knew everything.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Josh. Nice report. I said Josh. Thank you. All right. Next, we have a 2017 budget update, and Deb Behringer and Melanie.
Start, because she did all the hard work on these sheets.
Just if you'd like to look at the green sheet, I have at all your desks. This is pretty much the sheet that I have provided you with every year for the last few years. And it's just laying out what the 2016, the second column in of numbers is the 2016 tax levy amount by department, and the 2017 is the leftmost column. And then I'm giving you a figure of how much up or down the request is from one year to the other, and then the percentage increase or decrease that it is. So if you look at towards the bottom, the requests so far, we don't have human services in yet because they meet later in the month, so I think their budget's due to our office later this week. So I just, for sake of, you know, putting something together, just had them in at last year's level. And even so, we're up, the requests are up over $750,000 from last year. Then my calculations are at the bottom here, starting with our anticipated request. And then, of course, because EMS is exempt from the levy limit, we can take their amount off, as well as Winnifox. And so we still have a total request of $15,122,604. And the levy limit is going to keep us to about $14,287,328, which means we're 835 and some change over that limit. However, we do have that debt service payment that we're paying, you know, we're making an annual payment on our debt, and we can not include that in our levy limit. So we're just not even quite $30,000 of wiggle room under that. So I guess the bottom line is it's a very tight year. This scenario right here, even though our equalized values went up 2%, our mill rate would still be increasing by 16 cents under this scenario. And it also, the figures for 2017 include some general fund surplus money being brought into the budget as per executive's direction, so in the amount of $119,000. So yeah, it's getting to be crunch time, and that's where we're at right now. The yellow sheet, Chair Collada had asked me to put together some figures on how much salary and benefits increases were accounted for in the budget. So the second to the right most column is how much money an increase in salary and benefits. So salaries, health insurance, and so forth, are included, and that's, you know, $600,000 right there. And then, yeah, I don't know what else to tell you about this. It's rough. It's looking rough.
The reason I asked Mel to do the salary and benefits is so that when you look at the budgets that you're working with, the departments you're working with, you can see exactly how much of the increase is salary and benefits, and then can work accordingly, as far as the budget is concerned.
Food for thought.
Yes, I have a couple. First of all, the Department of Revenue finalized the equalization on August 15th, a couple days ago. And I think we should have a report on that.
I don't believe they've changed. I haven't looked at the final numbers yet, but the county's equalized value went up 2% overall, and it's that figure on the bottom right of the green sheet. So we did have some good news. Our equalized rate did increase, as did our net new construction. But, net new construction was still under 1%. It was 0.86, I believe. So those are both good things, but it only helps so much, I guess.
The other question is, the cost of health insurance isn't finalized yet either, right?
Well, we know it's a not to exceed 9%.
We know what the limit is, but it could be less.
Right, but I'm always hesitant to start playing with that at the very end of at the very end, because unless you have that hard and fast, you're shooting darts, so I guess until we know that for sure, I really wouldn't want to mess with that. And again, those are projections those were the instructions that were given to us, and so that's why we use that 9%. And that's very fluid. What I have for insurance today, I have people adding on, I have people dropping, I have people going from single to family. You do your best guess as of July. You take the July billing, and that's what you're using for what type of insurance they're going to take. So there could be all kinds of changes that go with that. But I'm very hesitant to play with that number, because it's going to affect you in 2018 then, when you're starting to prepare that budget for 2018.
Okay, Deb, you have a further report?
Well, I guess one of the things, if you look at that yellow sheet, so just salary, benefit, you're talking $500,000 just in that cost alone. Our payroll and benefits is $13 million of the levy, right? So our total budget is $39 million approximately, and so a good third of it is always going to be salary benefits. We know that. So that's not going to change from year to year. So we are tied up against that levy limit. That levy limit, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter who's elected, if it's the Democrats in control or the Republicans in control, that levy limit is going to stay in some form or fashion, because it's very popular with the public. Not so much with us, but very popular with the public. So we're going to deal with that in some form or fashion. So now, when we're starting to do 2018, you don't even have the wiggle room we had this year. It's not there. It doesn't exist anymore. So, I know Ruth and I and Mel, we've been preaching this to you for many, many years, but we are out of runway, folks. You're going to have to start making some tough decisions. And if you don't want to do it with this year's budget, it's going to be even harder with next year's budget. So I don't know if you want to have work groups. I don't know what you want to do, but you're going to have to prioritize your services, and you're going to have to start picking and choosing what you're going to be providing in this county, because we're there. There is no more room. And I know we've told you this many times, that it was coming. The day is here. The day of reckoning is here. So you're going to have to start deciding that. I know there's going to be some talk on how you're replacing me. That is something an administrator does do, makes those kind of calls. You know, so you're going to be making those kind of decisions too on top of everything else. But, you know, everything's got to be on the table. You're going to have to look at every program, and if they're not effective, you're going to have to figure out, you know, is this something we need to change? We're going to have to keep putting pressure on the state because there's a lot of programs that are really state programs that it's the trickle-down theory. So you have courts. It's a state court system, right? But we pay for a lot of that in our budget. The DA's office, that's a state program, but we pay for that. Probation and parole, they're using our jails. They're paying us pennies on the dollar to hold their prisoners in our jail instead of sending them to prison. So, you know, there's a lot of things that you have to keep putting pressure on the state that, you know, that trickle-down theory only goes so far, right? So, you know, if you talk to your legislators, please make sure you're telling that kind of stuff. I think we have to start looking at what other jurisdictions are doing. So we've got Ozaukee County and Washington County combined their health departments. They have one health department between the two counties, and that's very high population area. There's counties looking at regional dispatch. There's child support is becoming part of economic support in some counties. Review training. What are you sending people to training for? You know, what kind of, how is that all being done? Does that make sense? Is it logical to do that? Cross-training. So you have smaller departments, they should be cross-training staff so that you don't maybe need as many employees. So we really got to find out that what's that balance between what we're mandated to do and what we're doing. And that's a very difficult question. I understand that because it's personal interpretation and a lot of this stuff. You know, the state says you shall, but it doesn't define what that you shall will be. It just says you have to provide this service. So at what level are you providing that service? So I know Donna's talking about looking at this yellow sheet, some of the departments that are maybe very high compared to what they had for salary and benefits, that they'll be asked to come into executive and talk to executive to see what they can do. But even if we can fix this one and squeak by this one, it's going to be a bigger problem next time. That's, you know, and Ruth and I have been telling you that for a long time, and I don't know how else to tell you that. We've run out of runway now. It's done. So yes, Debbie Downer. What's my other nickname? What was the other one? Yeah, I had a different one on, what did Highway. I had a new one at Highway. I can't remember.
Just doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom, yeah. So I get that, I get that. But, you know, it gets to the point that you're going to have to start making some choices. You know, we've, after Act 10, we cut benefits, we changed pay scales, we did all kinds of stuff, but you can only do so much with that because pretty soon you can't recruit people, and then you've got a whole different issue. So I think, you know, we've about done as much with that kind of stuff as we can do. So there.
How are other counties? Are they in the same boat we are? Are we unique, or
Some have gotten here before us. So
what did they do to?
They cut programs. They applied surplus. You know, they're just
But when the surplus
limping
is
along.
gone, then you're in trouble too.
Yeah, that's a whole different
And that
issue.
only lasts so far, and we've hit that
Yeah.
a couple times
Yeah.
that I know of.
Some are lucky because their growth is helping them. Like they've had, you know, a lot of growth. You know, I'm not going to say that that's going to happen here with the renewal. So we probably won't have the benefit of that. But talk to other county boards. You know, talk to other people that you run into at meetings and find out what they're doing. To answer your health insurance question, it shakes out. It's a year later, but it does shake out. It always does shake out. It might not help you for this year, but it will shake out for 2018.
And now, the committees I'm on, you know, I guess we probably can look at programs there. But how do we know, like I'm not on Human Services and I'm not on the Board of Health and, you know, in a lot of other committees, how am I
type of person that you want to make those kind of decisions. And I hope you look at it as this is an opportunity as opposed to, just holding out for better times, because I just don't see the economy changing that fast to help us.
Any questions? And we will be bringing in the departments that are over, because we've got to figure out what to do, if they're over a lot. We've got to figure something out. Yes.
Been looking through some things, and it's really tough to figure out what. I don't have I didn't have this sheet with me at the time, but had quite a few of the departments, and some are coming in at or below what they had last year, and others are coming in at a little bit more or a lot more or whatever. I was thinking about, and people aren't going to like this either, but those budgets that came in over what they did last year, can they cut those by 20% each department? No, that's just an idea. I know people are shaking their heads no.
Well, and maybe we can look at that when we meet with these committees at executive. Maybe we can look at that, and then
Some it would be just a couple of dollars, others would be a lot, because some people are a lot over and some are not much over. But it's been said before at other meetings we've had here in other years that everybody should be the same, but you can't do that, because some have stayed at zero forever, and you can't cut them. They've already bit the bullet many times.
The problem there, Dennis, is the state mandates.
I know, and we don't have a choice with that.
Because of your chairman of
Human Services has a lot of state mandated programs. And you heard Dawn talk tonight about one individual that we've got in the county, and I heard a figure of $1,400 a day at our last meeting for her care, a day. And we don't have a choice on that sort of thing. When she's talking about going from 280,000 to $500,000, that's gospel there. And then what?
And that definitely is a mandate.
Yes, it is. And since the courts have decided that Waushara County is responsible for this individual, we are. Even though I think this is a product of a broken adoption or something, and neither of the parents are residents of the county. Yet right now. But still, the courts have decided that we are responsible.
Can I ask Debbie a question? Sure. You said get on the state. How do we really do that? Is anybody going to listen to us? No, I'm serious.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, but to do nothing?
Well, no, I'd be glad to.
Yeah. I think you got to focus on a couple different things and really harp on that. Because that's, we really are an arm of the state. The state gives us all our operation power, right? We are only able to do certain things that the state allows us to do, but they've also used that as kind of a trickle down. They'll say you have to do this. They don't necessarily define what it is, and that's kind of where they get you, because they don't say you shall do this, and then give you the list of the 1 through 10 ways that you have to do it. They just say you will provide this, right? And then they leave it up to you to kind of decide how you're going to do that. So the argument will be, well, you don't have to do the Cadillac, you can do the Yugo, so that's kind of how they kind of spin it. So you have to talk to department heads and find out, just focus on a couple things that they can really tell you, okay, this is an issue, and this is what's happening, and share that with your legislators. They still have to come back here once in a while and walk in parades. So, they come back, right?
I just heard this recently that
legislators listen to, if you get 10 letters on a subject, it starts to get their attention, or 5 phone calls on a subject, that starts to get their attention. So I guess probably that's what we have to do.
So if you want us to give you some talking points, we're more than happy to do that.
Hasn't it cost us a tremendous amount in the last couple of years just for law enforcement, just for the jail, as far as the cameras and all the stuff that they've been mandating, one thing after another?
That's at the
And that's
federal, the
unfunded
federal level
mandate.
with the PREA, didn't they, Ruth? Yeah, that was the federal guys, yeah.
And if they decide that they want us to buy body cameras, we're very important, because it's not just the cameras, it's the
Storage.
yeah, servers and everything else that goes with that. And, you know, if somebody gets a brainstorm that they're gonna mandate that, we're in trouble too, so. The cameras are nothing compared to the cost of the servers.
Is there a significance to the highlights on this green sheet?
Let's
I
see.
can't figure it out.
The human services one is just to draw your attention to that's not a real number. I just plugged in last year's number because we haven't gotten their budget back yet. They were different colors, but I don't have a color copier, so I couldn't do that. Yeah, I know, budget cuts, right? The debt services highlight is just to draw your attention to the fact that it corresponds to that number below it towards the bottom, where you could go up to that amount and be okay. That's how much
I'm
wiggle
looking at
room
the
you
ones
have.
on the left.
On the left-hand side, those are the departments that the general fund surplus is being applied to possibly. Executive asked us to put some surplus funds to those departments for additional positions, to bring victim witness up to a full-time position, additional clerical help at the jail, sheriff's department, and possibly financial help for the county clerk's office or the finance department, or whatever you guys decide you want to do with financial operations for the county.
And that's the total down here, the 119,000.
Yep, that's the 119,000, almost 120,000 is how much of our surplus money we've already put into the budget
So if
as
you
well.
didn't apply that surplus money, you would be over the allowable.
Any other questions?
How much surplus funds does the county have?
In the undesignated, I think it's about 7.3 million, something like that, in unreserved, and that, you have to have at least 25%, so we are healthy in that area. You would be able to tap into that and still meet your policy to have 25% in reserve.
But for how long? If this continues on this scale, that's gonna be dry up. You know, it's good we got it, but you keep taking from a drink from a jar, cup, sooner or later that gets empty. And that's gonna happen to the surplus, and you keep robbing from there to pay for somebody, something that we have no control over, some of this stuff. It's gonna be gone. Then what?
That's very true, Bob. One of the things that I noticed that started appearing this time is, there's a line item for capital improvements that were put into departments, and it really isn't capital improvements. Capital improvements are more buildings, repair to buildings. But what they're talking about is like equipment replacement or things that, like, so Debbie Pavlo was saying, like, her walk-in freezer is $70,000 if that thing goes on the fritz. And so maybe it's time that out of that surplus, a certain amount is set aside for equipment replacement for these departments that have never budgeted it that way. Because, the perfect world would be you've been putting money aside every year to depreciate that. We have not done that. We do that with IT. Highway does it in how they do their machine rebilling. So some departments have it built in, some departments haven't done it at all. But right now, we don't have the opportunity to work that into our budget. So maybe to give those departments some peace of mind that, yes, we know that this walk-in freezer could die tomorrow, money has been set aside for that purpose. And then these individual departments don't have to try to work money into their budget. So that would be one way we could, I think that had to be 50 grand. I know sheriff's had some, and I think maybe aging might have, but I don't think they funded it. I think they put the line in item in but didn't fund it. So that might relieve this a little bit.
Looking back at the EMS, they had money that they had in their budget that they used for something that it wasn't for, which ended up costing them almost not getting an ambulance or two. Do we get the chance to look at all of the budgets that have gone up on this so we can see what they've spent their money on and where it's going? Okay.
We did work 135,000 into the EMS budget, so that's included in their amount. That 145,000, that includes 135,000 for an ambulance, for replacement ambulances. So we did work that in.
Can you explain the negative numbers under the 2016 budget? How do we budget a negative number?
Is that on the green sheet, Larry,
Yes.
you're talking about? The little ones at the bottom, the data processing and highway, those were due to the health insurance changes last year at the end. Usually those are at zero, and that just threw them out of whack a little bit. So that's how those negative numbers happen. The non-departmental revenue expenditure one that has a lot more revenues in it than expenses. It's got, your 0.5% sales tax revenue and state aid and all kinds of stuff. So that has more revenues than expenses in it, actually. So that's why that looks.
You're anticipating a lower revenue then?
I'm sorry?
You're anticipating lower revenue?
I think the sales tax went down a little bit or stayed flat. What else happened in there?
And we also, part of it is like health insurance. You had a line item in your budget that we then moved into that non-departmental because it's really not Deb's budget. So.
Oh, I know what would have increased that number is the property and liability insurance. So if you look at mine changed by 138,000. It went down if you look at the green sheet, and it's because we transferred the property insurance into that because I was paying for a lot of the departments, not all of them, but a lot of them, and some of them I would bill back. So the thought process was that's a non-departmental cost, because
Resolution number 22-8-16, acknowledgement of Doug, is it Stoik? Stoik service to and retirement from the Washera County Highway Department.
Everett.
I second.
That was a motion to approve. And who seconded? Larry? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution number 23-8-16, supporting the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families 2017 through 2019 recommendation for additional funding for child welfare services.
To approve the resolution.
Motion by Weddy, second by Krantz. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Same sign.
Ordinance number 600, ordinance amending Washera County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58 Washera County Code, zone change Trent Schloss, Town of Richford.
Motion to approve.
By Lado, second by Cap. Are there any questions or comments concerning this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, board suggestions for future agenda items. Deb had RMM bring in some tablets and laptops if you want to come in and check one out and look at it and work on it. If there is no interest in going to laptops or tablets, I think we need to, because then they'll just forget it, you know.
Has there been any checking out how much that would save in paper usage versus the cost of these gizmos?
What would you say?
I mean, how many trees would be saved if we go to electronic instead of paper?
Gosh, I don't have those, I certainly put those figures together, but I mean,
I'd like to know if they're $50, $100, $500, I have no idea, I'm computer illiterate. But how much paper would it take to save to pay for those? I mean, 1 year, 5 years, 7 years down the road?
Not 1 year. It would be, well, and the ones that we're looking at or that they brought were $1,000 a piece, so.
But
I
they
think
have
they're-
an operating system in it.
Yeah, and so if we want something that is just, you just read, you know, they send you the minutes and things like that, and you just read and you don't do anything else. I had Mel contact East Central Planning, and something like that is maybe, what, under $300?
$100
Yeah,
yeah.
so, and even if you got an iPad, that's, you know, maybe 500. So we don't have to go the real expensive route, we can look at other things. But
Guess
there's
I'd-
no sense in going on with it if you already know that you don't want it. That's what I'm saying. You know, so. How do you feel about it? I mean,
Well,
we're not gonna waste any more time.
at this point in time, when we're so budget conscious and everything, I just can't see spending that kind of money on laptops. I
I'd like to
like them
see-
and all that, but boy.
Still want to see the cost.
I would like to see if there is a significant cost saving, maybe not for this board that's here, but a couple boards down the road, if they're gonna save on trees or printers or
Postage.
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 You know, some of those packets, if they're not able to be picked up, I'm guilty of it, I don't get here to the courthouse, it's $3, $4, $5 to ship out those packages. How long does that take to realize $1,000 for this iPad?
And that's why East Central Planning went to that. Their packets, they were sending out for like $7 a piece, and they were sending them to what, 30 or 40 people, you know, so they did go to the tablets, but they went to the cheaper ones. How did you like yours, Larry?
I never got it yet.
You didn't get it yet? Okay. I got mine.
So it's working real well.
You just follow along.
I know Russell wants this really bad.
He does.
Well, Jerry just whispered to me, he's interested in the tablet.
And that's what I want to know. If no one is interested, we're not going to go any farther with it.
But you would like us to get some prices?
Well, yeah, we're obviously not gonna do it in this year's budget, are we? Is there any consideration to,
Probably not.
but I mean, if we get everything, cost comparison, more paperwork, I know, but, that way we have an idea if it's gonna, something for next year.
We'll try to collect that data then.
And really, all we need are
you don't look at your email like I sometimes don't. Because I didn't know we didn't have zoning tomorrow. Until they told me tonight that it was an email sent out, and I haven't checked mine for,
Yeah, but really, if you know you have a meeting coming up, then you
check it, yeah.
except for Pat, of course.
I checked mine at 2 o'clock this
Yes.
afternoon,
If
and I
you-
didn't have anything.
If you get to kind of really communicate with each other, there's a legal concern with it also, as far as open records and
Right.
having to retain it and all that type of thing.
So,
Right?
There is, but I think that the ones that they were showing, that they brought in for samples, would be like somebody in Dawn's department who's gonna take it out in the field and do notes. And, or if I was gonna take it and do court, like it had like more bells and whistles
Right,
than what
than
you would
what
need,
you
because I could actually do the same work that I was doing at my desktop on what they were
Yeah.
showing you. If we're just getting like a reader type thing, that you
Yeah.
get an email and you can read you have your agendas and your minutes and stuff on it. Those ones aren't gonna be as expensive as the ones that they're showing us. But certainly, we would have to like, I mean, right now, if you guys are emailing privately to your home computers, you got a problem.
Problem, yeah.
You know, so if you're doing it on the county ones, it's a problem. I mean, so it's the same rule apply whoever owns the stuff. So walking forums exist today. If you stand out in the parking lot and all talk about what you're gonna do on the budget next month after you leave today's meeting, it's the same problem as if you're doing it on the tablet. So it's the same rules. But I would be more comfortable if you're gonna go the tablet route, having them county owned, because then all that you're doing on there is county business, and then when you have an open, a public records request, that's what it is. Right now, if you bring in your personal tablet and someone has it, I'm going to take your iPad and I'm going to download it, and there may be stuff on there that really doesn't need to be in the public, and then you're causing me more work to redact all of that stuff.
and that's why at East Central Planning, they discussed this, because one of the ladies said, I don't want another, I already have one for WCA, and I have one for the county, and I don't want one for East Central, and they said, well, you know, we can't make you take it, but, so she's gonna have hers emailed to her, so they'll be either, but then another person said, well, I have a township computer and I have a county computer, and both of those IT people said, don't put any county stuff on your township computer, and don't put any township stuff on your county computer. Yeah, so, you know, I think maybe after this discussion, we should just say, let's do the paper stuff, and, you know, if we have lots and lots of money some year, we'll.
I could see just the plain kind that just does the reader, and that's it.
Reader. I have the one for East Central, you can.
I checked this thing out, and I can't get it to go on my connection at home or anything.
Oh, okay.
Or we could leave it on our own personal servers.
Yeah. Yeah, because, yeah, you can't use it on.
I can use it as a guest on my thing,
Yeah.
but you got it on it even like that.
Uh-huh. So do you wanna think about this until next month, or do you wanna just say?
We'll try to get
we're
some
not gonna-"
info.
Let's get some more information.
info
I'd like to
and
see the small one. She brought,
Yeah, no,
that was not what I expected.
Yeah, but I don't even think well, if they're the smaller tablets, the read-only,
Yeah.
then I think we'll be okay.
I'd like to see that, but that's not what I expected at that meeting we were at.
okay.
Okay, very good. Anything else you'd like, yes, do you wanna is there anything else you want on the agenda for next month? All right, Everett.
Is there?
A motion
That
by
lady's over here
Everett,
wants-
second by
she wants to
Larry
talk.
to adjourn.
Wants to talk now.
I've never been to one of these, excuse me, I've never been to one of these, I didn't know if I needed to talk to you.
2 cents, Dennis